They say the whispering woods only speak to those who dare enter. Arjun never believed it until tonight. The forest was silent, no rustling leaves, no birds, no wind, only his own breath and the faintest whisper of his name. He thought he was alone, but then a voice, soft, almost a sigh, slipped into his mind. Arjun? He froze, his heartbeat thundered, but no one was there, or so he hoped. Every step seemed heavier. The path ahead shifted, or perhaps it was just his mind. Whispers grew louder, echoing through the trees, repeating his name, mimicking his thoughts. The woods were alive, watching, waiting. His hands shook. He wanted to run, but the whispers called him deeper. The forest promised secrets and dread. Something old, something powerful, stirred within the shadows, drawn to him. And then he saw it, a forgotten altar, older than memory itself, symbols that seemed to pulse in the dim light. A whisper surged in his mind, louder, urgent. You shouldn't have come here. The symbols seemed to watch him, shifting under his gaze. Each heartbeat echoed through the clearing. The whispers became words, urgent and pleading, leave or join. His mind struggled to separate reality from illusion. Step by step he approached. Every instinct screamed to turn back, yet curiosity rooted him in place. The forest wasn't just alive, it was hungry for him, testing his courage, his sanity, and perhaps his soul. His fingers hovered above the cold stone. The whispers swelled into a chorus of voices, pleading, mocking, demanding. Touch or be lost. The air itself felt alive, pressing against him, heavy and suffocating. He ran, every step heavier than the last. The forest seemed endless, twisting, bending, reshaping itself to trap him. Whispers followed, echoing, overlapping, threatening to drown his thoughts in fear. He pressed himself against the bark, trying to steady his racing heart. Eyes in the darkness watched him, unblinking, waiting. And then a voice, closer than ever, whispered, You cannot escape. He could feel them watching, every flicker of light revealing eyes that weren't human. The whispers now spoke in his own voice, echoing his fears, mocking his doubts. You'll never leave. The path narrowed, the forest pressing in from all sides. Roots twisted like grasping fingers, shadows forming faces that leered and whispered secrets he could almost understand. Every instinct screamed danger, yet something drew him forward. He hid, lungs burning, heartbeat pounding. The forest seemed to breathe with him, inhaling his fear. Symbols flickered faintly in the mist, as if the trees themselves were warning or luring him deeper. Every movement felt watched, every breath stolen. The shadows whispered in unison, urging, threatening, teasing. You came seeking answers. Now you will see. The air was alive with unseen eyes and ancient intent. He stumbled into a clearing, drawn by an irresistible pull. The pool mirrored not just the moon, but shadows that shouldn't exist. A whisper surged from beneath the water. Look closely, your fate awaits. The reflection in the water was not his own, or not entirely. Faces screamed silently, mouths moving in whispers only he could hear. The forest's ancient voice pressed into his mind. You belong here now. An archway of gnarled trees beckoned him deeper. The path seemed alive, bending to guide him. Every instinct begged him to turn back, but something primal urged him onward, whispering promises and threats in the same breath. The basin pulsed with an otherworldly glow. Runes shimmered as if breathing. Shadows formed figures that moved just beyond sight. The whispers were louder now, more insistent. Drink or never leave. His eyes locked on the glowing runes. Fear and curiosity battled within him. He saw them. Faces, not human, not alive, not dead. They beckoned, promising knowledge, power, or eternal damnation. The path vanished into mist. Arjun's flashlight flickered, his breath caught in his chest. The forest seemed endless, alive, hungry. And then he realized there was no way out, only deeper in, where the whispers would show him the truth or consume him entirely. Every breath was a struggle, every step a gamble. The whispers now spoke his darkest fears, twisting them into threats. You cannot leave, not alive, not whole. The forest knew him better than he knew himself. The clearing seemed alive. Branches bent like arms, reaching. Symbols floated in the fog, pulsing with a rhythm that matched his heartbeat. The forest was speaking, not in words, but in ancient intent.
His hands traced the runes. A shiver ran through him as the forest's whispers became tangible, clawing at his mind. Knowledge, or madness, he could not tell. The voices promised both.
The stone circle pulsed with an unholy rhythm. Shadows gathered, merging into forms that seemed to breathe. The whispers now were a chorus. Here is truth. Here is power. Here is your destiny. He stood at the heart of it all, surrounded by shadows and whispers. The forest revealed itself, not just alive, but conscious, ancient, and hungry. Every instinct screamed to flee, yet every whisper drew him closer. And then the first truth surfaced. You were never alone, and you never were. The whispers now screamed inside his head, overlapping, urgent, insistent. Shadows clutched at him, unseen but felt. He realized the forest wasn't just alive, it was a predator, and he was the prey. He stood in the circle, surrounded by eyes he could not see, by voices he could not escape. The forest demanded attention, demanded surrender. Every step he had taken had led here, to the heart of its hunger.
His hand met the stone. Light surged and the shadows coalesced, pressing into his skin, his mind. The whispers became screams, memories that weren't his own bleeding into his thoughts. The forest claimed pieces of him with every heartbeat. He saw it now, the forest's truth. It had existed long before him, older than memory. Every whisper, every shadow, every step had led him to this moment. An initiation, a revelation, a choice he never knew he had to make. The forest's whispers coalesced into one voice, resonant and commanding. Arjun Hale, do you belong or do you leave? The choice was no longer his. The forest had already decided, and the truth of the woods would change him forever. The forest's whispers had become unbearable. Each rune's glow drilled into his mind, each shadow clawed at his thoughts. He realized the forest knew him, every fear, every regret, every secret he had buried. He was no longer a visitor. The forest had claimed him. It towered above him, ancient and sentient. The whispers spoke in unison, a chorus of voices. You cannot leave. You are ours forever." He reached out, trembling. Every fiber of his being screamed to resist, but curiosity and fear merged into action. The moment his fingers brushed the runes, the forest's memory flooded him. Visions of those who had come before, lost to the whispers. He fell to his knees, overwhelmed. Faces of the past, twisted and silent, drifted in the mist. The forest whispered their fates, trapped souls, forever part of its power. And then it spoke directly to him. "You are next, if you falter." The forest was no longer around him, it was within him. Every shadow, every whisper, every heartbeat was its own. He felt the pull, the inevitability, and knew that tonight he would confront the truth of the whispering woods, or be consumed entirely. In that moment, Arjun understood. The forest had always been alive, conscious, feeding on those who sought its secrets. The whispers were not warnings, they were invitations. And every step he had taken had been a dance with fate. The shadows converged, and for a fleeting moment, Arjun saw the truth. The forest was not cruel, it was eternal. Those it claimed were not lost. They became part of its memory, its power, its voice. He realized he could join willingly or resist and be destroyed. He hesitated, heart pounding, mind racing. The whispers urged him, touch and see, become. Every nerve screamed to run, yet every instinct screamed to understand. The choice was his, but the forest already knew the answer. He stepped forward. The forest embraced him. Shadows, whispers, and runes entwined with his being. For a moment, fear and awe merged, then clarity. He was no longer merely a visitor. He was part of the whispering woods, and the forest part of him. When the sun rose, the clearing was still. The whispers faded, leaving only the faintest echo of a name, Arjun. The forest had claimed him, yet in a way he had become eternal, woven into its ancient memory. Those who dared enter would hear the whispers again, and perhaps see him, watching, waiting, forever part of the whispering woods.